Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we always love having speakers come on, sharing their expertise and inspiration. You are in for a treat because with us we have Dr. Mary Kelly, also a commander. She's a globally recognized economist, a best-selling author, retired US Naval Commander, a National Speakers Association Hall of Fame speaker, and so much more. But how are you doing?
Jeremy, I am thrilled to be with you and your audience today. We're going to have a great show.
Well, we definitely have a lot to talk about, so many different topics and books, but let's start with a little bit of your backstory. When you talk about all the amazing things that you've done, how do you frame it in terms of being a speaker and best-selling author? How do you frame your backstory?
You're kind to say that, all the things. The military is a great launching point for anyone. And you are so familiar with the military community and people who have served in the military, and we really appreciate your support. I grew up in a small business in Dallas, Texas, was very fortunate to attend the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. And from there, I went to intelligence school and then got shipped off to Asia, where I spent about 17 years leading multicultural teams throughout the Asia Pacific region. And so that gave me such great leadership exposure to so many other leaders of all the services, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, everybody. And you get to lead people early in the military. And this is where all of this started.
When you look at leading teams early and learning how to deal with crises and challenges and opportunities, talk about then the shift from taking those experiences and becoming a speaker, best-selling author, and kind of launching into the business space.
So for me, it was a fairly easy transition. I had been a college professor as well. So for me, going into the business side was a very natural transition. And what I found is that it doesn't really matter if you are leading military teams on a mission or you are trying to launch a new product line. What you've got to do is be disciplined, be focused, be resilient, adapt quickly to the changing environment, understand the reality of everything going on around you, be really mindful of what's going on with your people. It's all great leadership. And I think today, some people get very confused about leadership. They get confused. They say, oh, I don't know how to lead boomers. Maybe I'm a Gen Xer. Or I don't know how to lead millennials because I'm a Gen Xer or I'm a boomer. Or I don't know how to lead Gen Zers when I'm only a couple years ahead of them. And what I tell people, and I learned this from an Army general, he says, Mary, you don't lead demographics, you lead individuals.
So pivot, we all learned that word during the pandemic. Pivot is an acronym on your end, but talk about how you navigate turbulence, talk about pivot, give us a little bit of teaser on that side, because that is one of your big speaking topics.
It is. And thanks for raising that. So first, whenever we're confronted by a challenge or a change or a crisis, and it doesn't matter if that challenge is maybe you've got a difficult person at work, or it's a change. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be transferred to a new location, or I've got a new boss, or we've got a new software update. And frankly, I didn't learn the last software update. So I'm really worried about this next one. And what if somebody figures out that I actually never learned that last one? Or a crisis. The pandemic for a lot of people was a crisis as a global pandemic. And what we have to remember as leaders is when people are faced with that crisis, challenge, or change, they get very myopic. It's all about me and what I can protect. It's circle the wagons. It's my job, my house, my kids, my dog, my cat, my neighborhood, my community, my little league, my PTA. Very myopic, very inwardly focused. Great leaders, and we certainly see this in the military, spend almost no time being myopic. They look around really fast, get a situational awareness, and figure out what to do next. And those are externally focused energies. Real leaders stay in an externally focused place. The first 4 stages that people naturally go through are, oh no, what do I do in the short term? Oh my goodness, this is going to be something I have to contend with for a while. Okay, we can rally, we can do this. Those first 4 stages are very, very myopic. And then the last 2 stages of great leadership are understanding the new reality and then realigning your actions, thoughts, behaviors to make sure that you are doing what you need to do. So understanding that many people get stuck in those first 4 stages, we as leaders have to use the pivot. And when I use pivot, and I've been using this for way before COVID, I use it as an acronym. The military, as you know, we love acronyms. It's the only way we remember things. Make an acronym out of it. Some of them don't make any sense at all. That's okay. So my version of pivot is the P is purpose. Remind people of their purpose, why they are here. Many people lose their sense of purpose, and that leads to all kinds of self-doubt, loss of confidence, loss of self-esteem, and sometimes even real depression. The I in pivot is to show up every single day, prepared to inspire and influence the people around us. Even if you didn't sleep that night, even if you had a bad night, even if you got a flat tire on the way in, even if you're having a bad morning, doesn't matter. Your job is to show up and inspire and influence positively the people around you. The V in pivot is assess the vulnerability. I will tell you, Jeremy, when I had people working for me and I was in command, I made some mistakes. And that's the good thing about the military is you make these mistakes early. One of the things I did is walk around, that management by walking around thing. And I would say, hey, how you doing? How are things? And people would tell me, good, great, fine. Jeremy, things were not good, great, and fine. And I didn't know that that wasn't real. And part of my brain, honestly, kind of wanted to believe it. So I maybe didn't ask the right question. Now I would ask a different question. Now I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being absolutely fantastic, my life cannot get better. And 1 being, keep me away from tall bridges and buildings. Where are you? Where are you today with everything going on around? What's going on? How are things on a scale of 1 to 10? Give people a place where they can answer so that you can assess what's going on in their life, the volatility, the vulnerability. That's that B. And if somebody says, I'm an 8, great. What would get you to a 9? And sometimes it's something you as a leader can fix. Oh, our Wi-Fi's been down. Wait, what? I didn't know the Wi-Fi's been down. Or I need a different software program because this one's not working. Or we've got a problem with Bob because Bob's been sick lately and we haven't been able to fill his spot. We don't want to hire somebody, whatever it is. Okay, sometimes those are things you as a leader can influence. And if somebody says, I'm a 2, I'm a 3, I'm a 4, whoa, that's an all stop. That's, hey, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to talk about some resources we have available to help you? I'm not trying to get in your business, but that we've got people here to help you. Reach out and give people the opportunity, if they want, to strategize about what's going on with them. And sometimes people go, no, I got it. Okay, that's fine. But you just need to be aware of that. That's assessing the vulnerability and the volatility. And the O in pivot is to find opportunities where other people see only gloom and despair. There were people during COVID who figured out really quickly, everybody needs masks. I'm going to make masks in my basement. And you know what? They did great. They found opportunities. Now, this doesn't mean you're capitalizing on other people's suffering. There's a big distinction here. It means look around to see who you can serve today. Where's the opportunity for you to serve? Because that's what leadership is. Leadership is serving others well. And remember, opportunities are there. You just got to find them. And then the T is, what are you doing to help the people around you with the tools, training, technology, and tactics so that they are equipped to do what they need to do moving forward? So I know that was a long answer. So pivot again, it's purpose, influence, volatility, opportunities, tools, and training. And once you as a leader look at that and say, okay, what can I do today? My people got some bad news. Maybe we've got a new CEO and we just don't know what's going to happen. A lot of uncertainty. All right, folks, we still have a job to do. And we're going to show up every day and do our very best. We realize there's some emotional components here. That's going to be fine. This new person's probably going to bring in new ideas and that's going to be exciting. And what do you need today to do your job? Let's stay very focused. And so just using that 5-step pivot process gets people out of that myopic space.
It also too goes back to what you said before. You lead people. And so getting to know them, asking the right questions and, making it personal is a big part of that in terms of leading to success. And when you talk about leading people, also too, people have a tendency to procrastinate. And so you have a resource and a book for that as well. So talk about Stop Procrastinating Tomorrow.
The book Stop Procrastinating Tomorrow was written because, frankly, we all procrastinate, myself included. The things that you love doing, you don't procrastinate doing. The things that you don't want to do, you don't want to do, so you procrastinate. There are people who love putting up holiday decorations. There are people who would rather clean subways in a New York subway station, the bathrooms in the subway station, rather than putting up holiday decorations. And those people who love putting up decorations, put them up before Thanksgiving. The people who hate it, think, you know what, if I absolutely have to do this, I'm going to wait till the last minute, take them down as quickly as possible, just don't want any part of it. I use that example simply because we're all built differently. So we procrastinate on different things. So the book Stop Procrastinating Tomorrow gives you the science behind why we procrastinate. It reassures you that everybody does it. And it also says, okay, even though everybody does it, doesn't mean you get a buy. It doesn't mean you don't have to do things. You still got to get out there and get things done. So how do you do that? So it gives you some step-by-step tools on, let's break big things down into small things, big rocks into small rocks. Let's make sure that we understand why certain things are in our head. And here's just a quick one. Let's say there's something you really don't want to do. If you write down the time in minutes it's going to take, like, for example, you say, all right, I don't really want to decorate for the holidays, but maybe I'm going to pull some Christmas decorations out, and maybe it's going to take me an hour to set up a tree, whatever. If you go, okay, 60 minutes, you can do anything for 60 minutes. It's the thinking about it that you don't want to do. So once you decide to do it, assess how many minutes it's going to take, write that down, and then simply start. Mel Robbins says this. She says, if you don't take action in 5 seconds, it's not going to happen. And I think she's kind of right. What I do is my anti-procrastination device is break it down into minutes and then look at those minutes. Okay, I've got a client call I don't really want to make. It's an 8-minute phone call. You're not going to die. Just make the call. And it takes the scary out of it a little bit. And there's a whole bunch of other free resources as well on the website that is at productiveleaders.com/stop procrastinating. Bunch of free resources for people who are just feeling like, I got to get stuff done and things are hard.
And that's what I love is you've made all this so easily accessible. And so carry that into some of the newer content on that front too. This will tie into You Next, but back it up because it's part of a series, Who Comes Next. So talk about who comes next and then lead that into You Next.
So Jeremy, as you know, my PhD is in economics, which all of a sudden made me a lot less interesting to a lot of your listeners because maybe they had an economics class and it wasn't fun. But we're trained to look for patterns. And the pattern I see in the United States, as well as in some other developing nations, is there's not great succession planning happening for businesses today. That people think, oh, I'll deal with it when it becomes a crisis. Somebody dies, so we'll fill their position then. Or somebody gets sick or somebody decides to leave and we won't think about it until that moment. But in terms of long-term planning, succession planning is a huge part of your strategic plan. So the book, Who Comes Next? Leadership Succession Planning Made Easy, won the Benjamin Franklin Award 2 years ago because it is highlighting the need for succession planning as well as the actual steps. And part of the actual steps is a tools workbook that is part of that book that allows businesses of all sizes, as well as nonprofits, to figure out what do I do next to start on this path. And then once we got through that book, my co-author on this is Meridith Elliott Powell. She's brilliant. She's out of North Carolina. We realized that many leaders were looking into their talent pool and they're not sure how to identify their next leaders. And some of those next leaders aren't sure how to step up and be those leaders. So that's our 2025 book. It's called You Next, a step-by-step guide to taking charge of your career. And again, it maps things out for people because people just don't know that next logical step. They just need to be pointed in that direction and they need to be told, hey, this is kind of what needs to happen next. And that's where these books come from.
Give me one aha light bulb moment when you look at writing You Next and thinking about you at a young age and your career path. Anything that stands out to you is, wow, that's a really, powerful lesson, or I wish I would have known that then, or something, is writing the book, the process was a good moment for you as a learning experience.
What we did in writing the book You Next is we did focus groups. And one of the focus groups was young professionals, ages 20 to 40 years old, as to what are you thinking about your career? And what are some things that you wish you'd thought of earlier? What do you wish somebody had told you a little bit earlier? What do you wish you hadn't done, perhaps, that maybe you did do and that was a mistake? So that was very illuminating because, frankly, we made those mistakes too. And as my daddy used to say, you're not going to live long enough to make all your own mistakes. So you got to learn from other people's mistakes. And then the other focus group was from senior people asking what they were looking for in a talent pool. What are you looking for in future leaders? And I think for me, I wish that when I was younger, I had known it's okay to show up and ask a lot of questions and learn a lot. That sometimes we're so busy in the day-to-day doing of the job as we're like little prairie dogs. Sometimes we're so busy in the hole, we don't pop our head up and look around and go, hey, there's other stuff going out there. And, hey, can I learn from you for this time? I didn't ask enough questions, and I didn't ask for, hey, can I learn a little bit more about, what your job is? This is your job. I would just like to learn. I would like to have a better situational awareness of the other jobs around me.
Yeah, good stuff. This is one of those conversations we could go on for hours, but let's go ahead and wrap up. You mentioned your website, mention it again. So where can we go to learn more about you as a speaker, access the books, and find out more information there? Where can we buy the books? So go ahead and start talking about where we can carry this conversation forward.
Thanks, Jeremy. It's productiveleaders.com, because who wants an unproductive leader? Productiveleaders.com. And if your audience goes to productiveleaders.com/podcast for your podcast today, they're going to get my Leaders Blind Spot assessment, a bunch of free resources for leadership and business growth. And that's just something we want to make sure we're sharing with your folks. So hopefully they get some good resources there. If somebody's got a question for me, I answer all my own emails. I travel a lot. I'm on the road 20 days a month. I get lonely. So email me. I'm at mary@productiveleaders.com. And if you've got a question or a problem at work, I might have a tool for you with 20 books out. Some are good. Some are bound to be good with those percentages. And I'm happy to send you resources, materials, workbooks, research, anything that I can do to help you with your business and your leadership journey.
Well, Mary, thank you for all you do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure, Jeremy. Have a great day.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.